write about. Trying to figure out what it's all about. Existentialist. Am I worth anything or just discount? I don't know.
That is the great sound of Wata with Outside on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, with my partner in crime. His name is Long Island Raised, Elm City Made, EZ BlueZ with the Z is in the building. I love the background noise. EZ BlueZ, you're better with introductions more than me. Who do you have with us today on Behind the Brand?
See, ladies and gentlemen, there's these things called hidden gems, right? And in any type of situation, any type of video game or any type of movie, there's just those one moment that can really matter so much. And it's all based around this hidden gem. Many years ago, I was at Elm City Vineyard, and we were doing a celebration of joy. And this was the first time that I really was able to be in the same vicinity of this incredible hidden gem. Not only is this hidden gem a phenomenal pianist, I said pianist, that means he plays the piano, get your mind out of the gutter. But on top of that, he's a phenomenal saxophone player. The first time I saw him, he was duetting with the amazing Dylan, who I love with all of my heart and soul. You know, everybody knows that this man has taught drums to my child. That is how much Dylan is interweaved in my family. Then to find out he gets picked up by some of my favoriteest people in the entire world to jam with. Although there is a minor flaw, a very minor flaw, he does think that there's mayo in heaven, and we all know that that's incorrect. He thinks he's right, but we know you're wrong, and that's fine. But mentally, I want you to put your hands together, not if you're driving. If you're driving, you keep your hands at 10 and 2. So we don't want any accidents. But mentally, put your hands together for the amazing Stephen Gritz King. Brother, how are you? How you been? What's new?
Jeez Louise, man. What an introduction. I'm doing well. That definitely is a pick me up. I gotta go back and look at myself like, wow, that's you?
Well, here's the thing, you know, especially as artists, we're constantly trapped in, you know, because we are not like, you know, the most successful artist A, B, C, and D, you know, we start to lose sight on how much we actually impact. And it's one of the reasons why we love doing shows so much is we get to give back and, you know, show the person the impact that they truly have. You know, you're out here in New Haven and you are creating the next generation of artists as well. You know, you're helping craft that, and that's huge. You know, and the fact of the matter is, you know, you're playing in a group with our extremely dear brother Mark Lyon, so obviously you're already an another caliber of human being. You know, we love Mark Lyon as much as humanly possible. How did first let's talk about that before we really get into everything that you do. Let's talk about the transition of being, you know, a solo artist or you know, a studio musician, and then kind of getting into Fat Astronaut. What was that transition like for you?
It was interesting actually, because I've heard of Fat Astronaut, you know, years ago, years before I joined. I heard of him slightly, and for me, I listened to a certain style of music back then. Like if it was like a Robert Glasper type, that was usually like if I'm going to see some show, if I don't know the people in it, that's the type of show I'm usually going to see. Like that's the vibe. So with Fat Astronaut, I knew Mark. I knew of Mark. I didn't like officially super know Mark, but I knew enough of him from like when he did shows with Liz Dillinger. And then I knew Dylan, obviously. And I knew I heard of Chad. So Chad was doing. I met Chad when they did the Dilla tribute with Liz Paul, like a couple years ago. You know what I'm saying? So when I saw them on stage at first, they didn't have a keyboardist either at that time. But Trav Hall, the great Trav Hall, that was his first gig with them. And I was like, I heard Trav. I was like, and I heard them together. I was like, what is going on? Like, who is this group? You know what I'm saying? Because it was out of the, as a musician, like I appreciate all styles of music, but I'm not gonna lie to you and be like, oh yeah, man, I just got the newest you know, metal album that's out right now. You know, I'm not gonna lie. You know what I'm saying? And I also feel like hearing music live is a totally different experience from listening on a record. So I would be more into if I'm at a show and somebody's playing something because I can appreciate it more in the moment. I don't know if that sounds kind of shallow, but you know, so when I heard them, I was like, yo, this music is different. I don't know what about it is different. But then so they were killing. And I think what drew me to them was like I haven't heard bands do like transitions into song like shows. You know, when we playing, you do a song, stop, all right, count it off, stop, count it. This one, it was like, yo, what is this experience I'm going through? I'm over here just in the back of PST, like, yo, what is going on? So that was that. And then so Travis was for a while, he was trying to get me to get in with them, but on sax. So he was like, and Mark was, I guess the reputation of Mark back then was like Mark wasn't just letting anybody in. You know, he gotta be comfortable, he gotta just have a connection. He wasn't just letting anybody in. So I went to a couple rehearsals on sax when they were in this like old backyard space, and it was all right. You know what I'm saying? Like they were good, but I was, you know, I wasn't in it, you know what I'm saying? And Trav was trying, I kind of gave up on it momentarily, like, yeah, it might not work. And then Trav was like, what about keys? Something like that. I don't remember the exact conversation, but keys came up. And then I went to Mark's house, and Mark started just teaching me some of the songs. And then from then on, it just kind of went. So I started doing shows with them. And for me, I don't consider myself a keyboardist necessarily, like up front, right? Because in comparison to sax, like I feel like I've studied the sax, I know the sax, I'm a lot more comfortable, especially when it comes to messing up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Whereas keyboard, a lot of it was like I know some stuff, I know theory, so I could fake it till I make it, but you can't sit me down with certain keyboardists and expect me to be like, oh yeah, that, you know, which goes to what you say. Sometimes we don't get our, or because we're not A, B, C artists, we don't feel like we have, you know, it's like imposter syndrome. And I had a lot of imposter syndrome.
Hardcore.
You feel me? So,
to speak on that for a moment, I want you to really hold on to this for just a second. Remember, Flea was a phenomenal trumpet player before he ever picked up the bass. The bass is Flea's second instrument. So hold on to that and carry that with you as you continue your journey on keys and stuff, because you know we are not supposed to be able to fit into a tiny little box type of aspect of it. And you definitely, you know, do not fit into that as well. And really the energy and the smile really that you bring when you guys are on stage and in that moment, you know, it's reassuring for the audience member. I can only imagine what it's like for the musician that's jamming with you. But like being a musician and knowing that sometimes in those transitions, there's those tough parts to get out of, but then you just look over and you're beaming. And, you know, and I feel comfortable that I know that transition is going to happen. I can only imagine that your bandmates feel the same way. So I love that energy, and I love that that's what you bring there.
I appreciate it, because it's fun. Like it's such a difference. I know most musicians that play gigs where it's just, I'm just here to be here. I will say, and also Fat Astronaut, 'cause I played keys for my church, you know, but like Fat Astronaut, playing keys with them is different because I found my sound as a keyboardist. Like everybody's walking in there with their own suitcase of a sound and making it work, opposed to this is what everybody needs to sound like. So what I bring to Fat Astronaut is authentically like my sound on keys as I'm finding my sound on keys. And it works. And then it's grown. So from when I first started, so Fat Astronaut's a completely different band now. And I'm not talking about people. We've had a couple people not there anymore and filled in with somebody else. But the sound, I think it's because everybody's at home. Like, oh, okay, we kind of understand, and now we can take chances. We can do these weird songs that shouldn't hit like they hit to certain demographics, but they hit just because like it's what we're all bringing into it. So yeah, man, it's dope, and I do appreciate you saying that. Like I've gotten out of that space where I'm like, you know, years ago I was just like, nah, I don't want to be called a keyboardist. I'm just a sax player, and that's prior to even knowing about production. That's when I just thought, as a musician, you're supposed to, this is your instrument. You're supposed to want to tour and play gigs, and that's it. So like 2015, I opened up like, oh shoot, there's production. There's people who I knew who played one instrument and are killing on another one because they didn't limit themselves. So that's the space I'm in now. I'm not limiting myself to like, oh, I'm just a saxophonist. Like I'm an artist. I'm a musician.
And you are, and a phenomenal one on
Thank you,
top
man.
of that.
I appreciate it.
As you continue to transition and dabble with doing the solo stuff and working an actual 9 to 5 type of aspect and creating with Fat Astronaut. Are you also doing the soul jams that Trav puts together?
Wednesdays. Wait, when is that?
Yeah, I think it's
No,
Wednesdays.
nah, I haven't. I haven't got there. Like I used to do. I did R&B Wednesdays down the terminal.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like when they first started. Like literally, like when
Mm-hmm.
like I did the first. I was on the first show. I was featured on the first show, and I went a couple times. It just stopped being as much of my scene.
Right.
Personally, and it just got hectic. I was like, I don't really feel like going out there for 9 o'clock, being done at like 11, and then I don't stay for the party. So I was just like, I'm gonna just chill. I miss the jam. Like I can't wait till the jam comes back because that's more of an element where I'm like, that's where I feel really at home. You know what I'm saying? And
More
at
of the
home to be
music.
creative. More, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because then I'm around all my best friends are, for the most part, musicians and all like killing musicians. So it's like we're actively creating. When the jam comes, we're actively creating. It's like you never know what's gonna happen. So those are my types of places where like I definitely would like to be. If it comes to like being somewhere at being at a jam or anything like that, like those types of vibes.
So for those who don't know, what is the jam? I know that since this is pre-COVID that this thing happened and it hasn't started up yet. But look, you and I know a whole bunch of people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure by the end of this interview we can make about 19 phone calls and that jam could happen again. But for the people who don't know about the jam, let's tell them about it. Let's get them invested so that when we do drop it, it's going to be completely
Yeah.
off the chain.
And so the jam it's definitely been in talks. So Jeremiah Fuller, one of the craziest musicians I know,
Mm-hmm.
and Paul, they're usually the two that head it up. And
Mm-hmm.
I know Jeremiah's been speaking a lot, and he's been like actually advocating, especially to a lot of the musicians that we play with. He's been hitting us up. So it's just like a waiting game, but it's definitely in the works. You know what I'm saying? But the jam is essentially just like it's not necessarily like a whoever walks in the door can get up on stage and play. It's a little more organized. So we have a core set of musicians. So at least like 8 of us. That's like a core. The core is like the 8 of us who are just happen to be like real great friends. And Paul, he starts. So Jeremiah, they set the mood, and then Paul came up with it. I think the last few jams where he found a smooth way to transition it. So songs don't necessarily stop. We start playing the song and then kind of cycle somebody in real smooth, and it just becomes this thing. So, and the crazy thing about it is, who was saying? I think Trey. I was talking to Trey Moore not too long ago. Who's shout out to Trey. He's also a part of the jam, but he's doing his own thing. He said he's going to jams, dope jams like Doobie Powell Sheds and jams up in Hartford and all that stuff. He said the difference is those jams usually consist of a lot of musicians in the audience, like mad musicians in the audience. And this one, there's a good amount of musicians, but there's also just people, like a whole bunch of people that just come to listen, which is cool. Because at the jam, a lot of people just want to come and play. And to know that there's people out there who just want to listen, they just want to be in a moment with you, even if they're not creating music in that moment, it's a beautiful thing, yo. It's like 2 hours of straight, just like your face is just the whole time, like farts and onions, just like the whole time. That's just what it's like.
No, but see, and that is something that is, I have to say, is very unique to New Haven.
Right.
Coming from different scenes and stuff like that. One of the first things coming out here, it was around the time that Mark Lyon and Mike Knobloch was running the open mic at Stella's. And it had that jam type of aspect of it. And that's kind of like what I did. Like I would walk up there and be like, okay, guys, play something in F, and I'm just gonna make up some words and make up a melody. Like, oh, you're gonna rap? I was like, no, I'm gonna give you a melody. Like, you're gonna create a song right now? I was like, yep, let's go, giddy
Right.
up. And we go about and do those things. And there's a hunger for it out here. And a lot of that just comes from the really deep history of it. I say it all the time. I think Cafe 9 is one of the best venues out here because at Cafe 9, you're not just the soundtrack for people drinking. Like there are people that go to Cafe 9 just to listen to music. And that doesn't happen everywhere else.
Right.
You know, it did happen a lot at PST, and we hope that the next, you know, whatever PST becomes, we hope that that happens as well. You start to see it a little bit at the State House. Although there are those people that are just there to dance and drink their faces off, and we appreciate them too.
Right.
We really do. We need you, you know, being on the stage and seeing that moment and seeing that person so free in that moment. You need that for the energy. So we appreciate it. I'm not saying don't do that. In fact, I'm saying do it. I'm saying make sure you pay the sitter for the next day too and have a grand old time. I'm just being real. You know, but as you know, as you've transitioned from, you know, solo musician to being in a band, now to also putting out a project on yourself. This past May 1st, you've released another solo record, correct? What was that process like?
Well, it's I find so sometimes I find it interesting because I do everything myself for the most part. First of all, God isn't everything I do, so I can't sit here and act like I take credit. But after God, I do, you know, it's me. So like I see a lot of people like they do these records and they, you know, sometimes the records take a while. Even with Fat Astronaut, we have records, and we're still in the process of. So I can understand like sometimes the process is super long because all these finite details need to happen. Where me, because I do everything myself, like everything's in house, all the production. It's not as crazy, but the only reason it takes long because of me, my hesitation, my laziness at times, you know what I'm saying, my overthinking as a musician, like I made this hot joint, wake up in the morning, it's not that great, you know what I'm saying. So for me overall, like, because I've been producing since 2016, like where I sat down, I was like, I'm doing it. So over this time I've released 2 EPs and a couple singles, you know.
Right.
And the process before this one that I'm about to release was always just like I was creating. I'll just sit down, I'll create some joint and I'll leave it. And then like sometime and I'll create some more. So I have a couple songs and then I just sit down and be like, I should release something. So now I have some stuff to go back to and tweak or whatever. So I think it's just like second nature just because I just sit down and produce. You know, which I'm grateful for, because I don't it doesn't take me months and months and months to get one song, because I don't have to rely on anybody else. I'm just doing this now. I just have to focus within myself to say, all right, I want to release this, or this sounds good enough, or I'm gonna put the time in to make this sound good enough to do. You know what I'm saying? So so yeah, the process is cool. I just sit down. I just like put some drums down and then just start playing keys. And if something sticks, then it just sticks. And I go with it. And then if it's trash, then, you know, get rid of it and then just try again. But I realize that's just what it is. And that's what it's been. I hope it kind of stays that way and just grows, because then it's not forced. I realize anytime I try to force something, a lot of times when I try to do something to post, it just doesn't fit. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't work. So
I definitely understand. Kind of like when I say the tagline, WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven, myself, Prestige, and my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City made, EZ Blues is in the building. We got the great Gritz King with us on Behind the Brand. Go ahead, Easy.
Well, you know, it's you know, he's so smooth, so smooth. You know, it's an interesting atmosphere, especially, you know, creating the entire from jumping the different things like that. And we've had musicians come in and talk about that process to no end. The process that no musician ever wants to talk about, and this is the process that I want to sit and talk about with you. So once you release the record, you just put it out in the world, right? And then you just hope that someone's going to listen to it and everything's going to be fine, right? That's what you do. Or do you get into the marketing aspect of it, where the real dirty is? Because look, man, we know it's there. And I'm going to say this for the terrestrial radio: there is a certain amount of person of the night type of aspect that you have to go through when you're releasing these type of projects and trying to get it out there. Are you someone that just does the dump and walk away, or are you someone that is sitting and investing the time in there to get the most amount of heads to take a listen to the record?
Bro, I dump and I close the door. I get in the car and I drive a state away. Like, but that was one of the issues because and I was actually talking with I just did an interview with Brian Slattery.
Mm-hmm.
and
Brian.
and he asked, shout out to Brian, and he asked me something, and it came up to where I was like, wow, because all of my other projects, um, day before it releases or it drops, oh yo, by the way, got a project out, blah blah blah, you know what I'm saying, and then I will
Right.
release it, and for me, I realized like this is where I'm realizing growth because I would if I had an instant gratification type of mindset where like um if I released it, a couple people would be like, yeah, dope. But then like, I know a lot of people in here. I could go on my DistroKid and see the streams and all that stuff. And I think I would get discouraged, right? And I'd be like, all right, well, fine. I mean, it's out there in case anybody wants it, it's out there. But then I wouldn't push it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And the difference is like I see so many people like really, and I understand why now people will spam their Facebooks and their Instagrams 5 days away, 6 days away. Hey, it's been 3 months. Have you still been listening? Like they push it, and I'm like, wow. Because now sometimes
Mm-hmm.
I will go listen just because I'm like, all right, what's the talk? What's it? You've been at this for a long time. Let me actually go listen. I was like, wow, it makes the difference. So I would I would just dump it, leave it. I will add it to a lot of my like, if you follow me on Instagram, most of my reels are like original music, whether it's put out or not,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's like stuff that I have actually physically released, but it's like original music. And I've been trying to do better at just like putting a little nuggets. So now with this, I made the announcement on it. These next few days, I'm gonna actually be like posting specifically to market that, and
Right.
then after when it's released, I'm gonna be like pushing it the way I need to be. I'm actually gonna do a video, like a visual for one of the songs.
Nice.
Um,
Nice.
God willing, I'm gonna do a show. I'm gonna do a show. I'm actually gonna I'm gonna make you listen to this thing. You know what I'm saying? And I
Nice.
think changing my mindset so I'm not just dumping because like I'm not Silk Sonic. You know what I'm saying? I'm somebody
Right.
who like as soon as you drop something, you could drop it the day of in anticipation for it is crazy. And people are just run like that's
Well,
not what it is for me right now. So
Yeah, well, I want to talk about that for a moment because that is a lot of the nonsense that we are fed.
mm,
And again, yes, you're not Silk Sonic, but Silk Sonic has spent both those artists many years in that grind prior.
mhm,
They have at least a decade's worth of record companies promoting their stuff.
right,
It being forced down our ears. It is being put in major rotation, because that money is being spent,
right,
because that's out there. Yes, no, neither one of us are at that level or anything like that, but we forget that they were here
mhm,
before.
right,
You
right,
know what I mean?
right,
And that's a really big part because we're continuously putting up this, like for myself, I took it so seriously at one point. Um the day I turned 28, I thought I was a failure as a
mm,
musician and as a creative because I didn't make it into the 27 club. And this is stuff that is should not be honored.
right,
And we were sitting here and we're super grinding ourselves out, not understanding that we don't have the record label behind.
mhm,
That money is a loan from the record company, but it's all that money that goes into the promotion that is really the reason why we're hearing the songs that we're hearing.
right,
Not knocking the musicality. Silk Sonic is by far one of the best records I have heard in a very, very long time. The production quality is ridiculous. The vocals
mhm,
are amazing. The songwriting is impeccable.
mhm,
But it took them a very long time to go from, Grenade, what the industry wanted them people to hear,
mhm,
to being able to drop Silk
Right.
Sonic,
Right.
and maybe you're just at your grenade phase. And
Yeah,
that's fine because there's some glory in that as well.
oh yeah, yeah, and I think that's the real. So all that is the realization that I've had, that like that's not me right now. So I can't just drop something and not like, if I want y'all to listen to my music, I can mention it once. Y'all have, I know you got kids. I don't know if you have children, or like, but y'all have lives. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They got things you're doing. So Steven is not about to be the most important thing in your day. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Only person that is for is my wife and my mother. Like, where I'm really one of the most, I will be
Right.
higher up on the importance level. But it takes me to realize that. Then also looking back on my journey, like 2016, if I even had it still, I got rid of it. If I played y'all the first record I ever put out, it wouldn't work. It just, it's horrible. Like, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes I look back and go, wow, I've grown, right? So with that growth musically and production wise, I have to also grow how and mature in the way I market, if I want people to hear it. If I just want to put it out just so it's out, bet. But if I want people to hear it, and it's not even really about the money. Like, if I make some money, dope, beautiful. But because I'm giving something to the world and something that I worked on and I have a voice, I want people to hear it. So I can't just sit back and just expect people to just flock. Oh yeah, Gritz put out something, because that's not it. You know what I'm saying? So I have to. I'm maturing enough to know, like, okay, this time around I have to just put in the effort if I want to see a certain type of thing. So that's what this project. I was like, I'm gonna change that up. I'm gonna do things a little different, especially with this day and age where I can make reels now on
Hmm.
on
Yeah.
Instagram. I can make real, and people can see. You know what I'm saying? I'd like to think that I have a certain type of, I have an interesting eye, a little bit of in little funny characteristics that, like, if I just focus, put it to work, I
Mhm.
could make some stuff that could also aid in the promoting. You know what I'm saying? Because
Right.
nobody
Well,
got $50,000 for promote right now, man.
no,
That's
no. Well,
not at
you're
the
also
moment.
you're also a content creator, correct? I mean,
Yeah.
you have the thing with your wife where
Mhm.
you talk about the actual truth behind the first being newlyweds, because look, and a lot of people, being a parent, I see it more than, say, like newlywed different aspects. But
Mhm.
being a parent, when the younger parents come to me, oh, what should I expect? I'm honest with them. I'm like, look, it's going to be the most incredible miracle of your entire life. And
Mhm.
when that moment fades, it's going to be a lot of not sleeping. There's going to, and just when you get the pattern down and sleep go, then the first tooth is going to come through. Then, all these other different aspects are going to come through.
Mhm.
And you're going to get better as things go through, but it's also going to get more complicated. But
Right.
it's still, it's an amazing miracle, but there is all of these other steps you have to look at. And that's what I really dig about what you and your wife have been doing, is you're giving an honest, adaptation and an
Mhm.
honest point of view of
Right.
what marriage is.
Right.
What made you jump into that? Someone who, and we're talking about it, and not necessarily dealing in the marketing aspect. You've kind of just stumbled upon a beautiful marketing tool, if I'm
Yeah,
being honest.
and I attribute that to my wife, yo. So my wife is, first off, she's the dopest human being I've ever met and got to know, and continue to learn.
That's
If that makes
awesome.
sense. You know what I'm saying? And she's a therapist. My wife is a therapist, a trauma focused therapist, and um, the thing about her is she's not she doesn't waste words. So I'm very like, out, hey, what's up out here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm comfortable with doing things on the fly if it needs to be done. I'm comfortable with, like, even with this interview, because last night she asked me, they gonna send you any questions ahead of time? I was like, nah, I don't really, because for me, I'm
Right.
comfortable with just like, whatever happens, happens. I feel like I'm pretty
Absolutely.
quick,
Yeah.
but with her, she doesn't waste words. So, and I realized every word with her is powerful.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So I say all that because 2014 we dated for 7 months in college. We were two completely different people.
Mm.
So when we reconnected in 2019, and I saw the difference in her, And and she attributes all that. I attribute all that to God, because like that's what was the switch for her. Like she changed, she turned her life around and started getting focused, and then he just showed her all this stuff. So she built her own practice while being told, like, no, you have to go this other route. You know what I'm saying? And she's the one that said, all right, well, I need to learn this stuff. So she researched, found all these webinars. She researched, found all these certification programs after she got her master's. She's continuously like, what do I need to do? And I'm going to go do it. You know what I'm saying? And then she built out her pages, her company, to where now she puts out content because that's what she was supposed to. She just knew she needed to do it. So to be around somebody like that, it gave me a boost. You know what I'm saying? And then you know, we're both artistic, and it just kind of came together. We're both doing our own things, and I forget who came with the idea. I'm pretty sure it was her. And it was, you know, through some praying and what are we supposed to do? Because we see our marriage as also like a ministry. Like we got to give back. This marriage isn't just for us. So both doing content stuff, and then realizing like, yo, what are people saying about marriage? What are these old sayings that we hear about marriage, right? Or they say, oh, the honeymoon phase. Oh yeah, it's nice now, the honeymoon phase, but wait till that wear off. All these different things. And it's like, why do people say that? Where did these sayings start? Everybody knows them, but where do these sayings start from? And so we just started talking about it, and then it formed into what you need to see now, like kicking it with the kings. It formed to this thing where we're young, Black, Christian, creative, married, who are working towards, like, you know, being our own bosses, you know, breaking curses, creating generational wealth by breaking generational curses, all these things. And we want to show people that, like, yo, marriage is dope. Marriage is fun. Marriage is work. Marriage takes effort, but people keep saying, one of our first videos was stop saying marriage is hard. And we said that because we're bad, because people are saying, oh, your marriage is hard. They just put it in the basket, marriage is hard. And we're like, nah, especially her being a therapist. She's like, no, we gotta combat that, saying, what about marriage is hard? Take the thing apart, you know, undo it, fix whatever that is, because then you're painting a picture that the whole marriage is hard. Why you getting married if you know the whole thing is hard? You know what I'm saying? And then that's sending a message to everybody else who may be on the fence, who maybe don't believe in marriage because of certain things. It's like, it's not. Marriage is fun. And I know we're only about a year in, but we've done work prior to getting engaged and prior to getting married because we had intentions. So we're coming at it from a different perspective than probably like our parents did. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, if we can change that narrative with the truth too, we're not lying. You know, of course, if we can change that narrative, then we can, even if people aren't going to get married, you know what I'm saying? But we can change that narrative to show, like, that is what people have been feeding y'all, doesn't have to be the truth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have mad fun with my wife. Like, we have a good time. We have things we work through.
Of course.
But that honeymoon phase is not stopping. Y'all could check it with me in 10 years from now. I promise you, it's not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Because why does it have to stop? Why do you have to seem like you have to stop? Even when having kids, even when buying homes, all this stuff, it's like, that is real and that's gonna happen, but it doesn't need to make everything stop. Doesn't mean they need to make marriage sour. You know what I'm saying? It just so we just I think that started from just changing that, and then all these other little conversations about, like, what we truly go through. You know what I'm saying? As a married couple, young married couple, and a young married Christian couple, like, we just telling you what the realness is. We talk about sex. We talk, you know what I'm saying? We talk about all these things that within marriage is like people need to hear. Like,
I honestly really think how you're breaking it down is just what marriage is all about. And people are really, I'm not married, but I'm just saying this from a perception, just from looking at from the outside, people are really catered to the frosting on the cake. They're really catered to just looking at the outside, just a celebration more than the actual responsibility of a marriage. I think you broke down the responsibility of what it is to be with a significant other, because everybody wants to talk about the celebration and everybody wants to talk about the party and the wedding and everything happens. Nobody wants to talk about that that year after, or those 2 years after, or those 3 years after. And what you just broke down was pretty much just building a foundation. A lot of people don't want to build a foundation with a couple. They want to rush stuff right away. So I think what you just said just perfectly describes what a lot of people need to hear and know and talk about with their significant other.
Right. And I think if I could break it down simply, if somebody said, what is something I learned, or what do I think marriage is? Marriage is to make you a better person.
Exactly.
Because as a husband, I need to serve my wife. Like, and it sounds crazy because like it sounds like, well, if you got the right person, some people will think about it like, well, even if she's doing this, I gotta serve, because if I'm with the right woman, which I am, if I'm just doing my part, if I let my petty stuff go, if I'm there, a change will happen in your wife, and this change will happen in your spouse. You know what I'm saying? That's supposed to happen. Like, if I consistent, if I don't, if I die to myself, right? If I just like put myself aside and be completely selfless, then even if I'm not, because my wife don't be wild, but like even if she's wilding out, right? I know she can see this, but even if she's wilding out or whatever the case is, it's like if I choose to like, all right, no, fine, I'm gonna do that too. It doesn't help. But if I choose to just respond with love and just, all right, what you need, then with the right person, it's gonna switch. And she's shown me that early on. You know what I'm saying? So it makes me a better person because I can truly practice something that my body wants to do the opposite of. You know what I'm saying? It's a mirror, and she learns. So I think it's supposed to be that. You're just supposed to be selfish in it, because marriage is no longer about just the two of y'all. It's about y'all really becoming one. So would you hurt yourself? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, no, it's so interesting because I get the question a lot. How do you balance being a parent and being a musician? And my always answer is like, who balances? You live both of them at the exact same time. Like I don't like, oh today, I'm just a dad today. I'm not a musician dad. No,
right.
Like, this is just who I am. And I'm extremely open and honest with my kids. Like there's been many a times where I've had to tell them like, look, you don't necessarily live the life that your friends live. We do things a little bit different. You can't go into school on Monday and look at your friend and be like, what do you mean you didn't go into the studio with your father this Saturday? Doesn't everyone do that? What are you talking about? You're not in a music video? No, that's not normal life, kid. This is special. This is different. This is something that we do. And because I'm able to have those conversations and I'm able to be honest with them, we're able to kind of grow and move forward together, where I never have to make that choice. I don't have to, settle. And a lot of it, and I love the fact that you talk about generational curses, because a lot of that breaks down that generational curse. You cannot be in a happy, successful marriage if you guys are both just being creatives and, hoping that the money will show up at one point in time. That's a lie. That is a lie that is being told to you out of love, because the generation before you wants you to succeed and understands how hard it is out there for someone who wants to go through the straight and narrow path. And now you want to come at it from a creative point of view. They're concerned, and they are lying to you to protect, but they are still lying to you because they're coming out of a place of their own fear. Right. So it is awesome to talk with people who are ready to help break that generational curse of, because there's many a times that the hand you hold is the hand that holds you down.
That's a bar, man. I don't know if that's a quote from somewhere, but if it's not, man, you better patent that, use that as a trademark, that thing.
I kind of pay tribute to it in one of the new songs. Actually, it's the hand that feeds can be suffocating. So
wow.
Yeah, right. I like that line a little bit better.
I like this line better though. WNHHLP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, with my partner in crime, Long Island Rays, Elm City made. EZ Blues is in the building. We got the very intelligent Gritz King is with us on Behind the Brand. Go right ahead, EZ Blues.
Well, it's really interesting to hear and to see kind of like where you have landed. because you have a remarkable journey. And you're coming through in a city that, because of where we are, we're too close to New York, we're too close to Boston. So not a lot of people really understand the beauty that is New Haven. And not a lot of people really understand how much musical history comes through New Haven.
Right.
They think that everything just kind of stops with Jim Morrison getting arrested because, he had to, dance around in the New Haven Coliseum. But there's so much more to that. There's so much out here. There's whether it be, the late great Charlie Karp, or we talk about some of the actual musicianship that has come through here or really started here. And even for famous people need to realize that at least for a year, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson went to Hamden.
Right.
People need to recognize New Haven for what it really is. There's a lot coming through here. Do you ever get that frustrated moment, where you kind of feel like we're just being overshadowed because of New York and Boston?
Honestly, no. I don't want to say I don't care, but I don't, because you know what I'm saying, because I feel like New York has always been there, Boston has always been there, but New Haven, we know coming from New Haven, we know what New Haven has, we know what Connecticut has, and people are missing out if they don't try to pass through. You know what I'm saying? And there's been a lot of great people. I do believe that sometimes you have to leave. Like I do believe like a whole bunch of the talent that is here in New Haven and in Connecticut all over may have to leave to get the recognition they want. Because sometimes Connecticut in itself, we're our own worst enemies. You know what I'm saying? But for me, it's like, well, New York is close, Boston is close. So if I really felt like y'all need to come, y'all need to hear us, then shoot, I'm gonna take it to y'all. There's been a lot of people like I'm in a show because I act as well, so I'm in a show with some great actors who double as some some poets and improv workers, and just so one of the dudes, his name is Influence Sherman Influence Little, crazy spoken word artist, like crazy, and he's gone to different places, and shown what's good, like done his thing, and people start to come back. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes it even takes that. Sometimes it's going to take us going somewhere just to say, "Oh, yeah, like that? You come see where it's at." You know what I'm saying? Right. And then coming back to where it is. But for me, I never was like, "Dang, we was getting overshadowed." It was kind of like, I'm still trying to get it right here. You know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to. Right. And then if I really, and if God calls me to go somewhere else, then I'm gonna go. But you know what I'm saying? Like, he hasn't told me to, you need to make a name for yourself in Boston or New York. So for me, I'm comfortable because I'm still, it's so much stuff here. So like, I'm still trying to learn all the people. I'm still getting to know so many people here. You know what I'm saying? Because whether it's not recognized by people that think about Boston, New York, it's still something.
Right. No, it definitely is, and I'm loving that answer. And I also love he got like the shoulder change up real quick. He's he's like, I'm gonna represent right now. I'm gonna lean back in this. It was a great moment. It was a great moment for those.
I'm comfortable with your child,
man. Yeah, we're gonna rewind and watch that over and over again. That's the meme that's gonna come out of this.
Yes, it's a great moment, baby.
No, but it's so interesting. Now, obviously, saxophone is your first love, and keys are now coming into that aspect. You're creating, the entire record, the instrumentation yourself. Is there going to be like a third one now? We got like a full acapella, just full Gritz King vocal hour coming out. You're gonna be like, you've been being like Chad messing with the.
Look, man, you never know. I mean, because I think this. So with this project, right? I put like with this project in comparison to my other ones were just songs I had. And I was like, I need to release something, so I just threw songs in there. This project is the first one I've created that has a meaning, has a theme, has thought behind it that all these songs except for one, were created specifically for this project. And the one that was created, it was created a while ago, but I never did anything with it. And then it clicked that this needs to be in this too. But essentially, every song was made specifically for this project. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And it has a theme. And I think now that's gonna be like the way I create my projects from now on. So I got stuff, yo. I wanna make a smooth jazz album for my pops because he's
Nice.
smooth jazz, and he's doing that, like, got me into the sound of jazz. I love straight ahead, but like that was where I started. Then I want to make a straight ahead or just like an actual like solid true jazz album. You know, I want to make some R&B like I you know what I'm saying. So I have but now I can go in and saying this is the sound, this is the theme. So how can I build off of knowing they're supposed to? I made these songs a couple years ago. Let me just throw them in the pot and see what happens.
Now, of course, I'm gonna antagonize here for a moment. So we talking about like a bebop record?
Something maybe like new age jet, maybe like new jet, like
Okay.
like but because I love yo, when I tell you I love bebop, I love traditional jazz, like I love the sounds, I love stuff that came from it, and with that I love movie scores, bro. I love theatrical musicals. I love, you know what I'm saying, I love classic, like all these things, and all those things are eaten up into jazz. So but that's where my head is at for all these projects that are coming out. So yeah, the jazz album, it will have strong elements of bebop, but it'll also have elements of the Glasper feel, will have elements of like the newer jazz, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I can't just say yeah, but it's gonna have some stuff in there, but it's, you know.
Well, I love that, and it's an incredible moment to kind of end it at. Right now, they're pulling the Apollo curtain, and we want to give these last couple of minutes to you. 100%. How can people find you? Remember that your record dropped on May 1st, so it's available right now. People can go out.
Not yet.
And they pick it up. No,
Yes, right now. Yes, right now. Yes.
Right now. I got you. Yes, sir. I know.
Hardworking man, he's tired. He's done so many things.
Looking out for you. All right. So how can people find the record? How can people get in touch with you? How can they do, become in touch with your podcast? Let us know. This moment is yours, sir.
All right. So I'll start. Well, so with my wife and I's YouTube page and content, that's Kicking It with the Kings, KICKIN it with the Kings at that's just a YouTube, type it in YouTube, you'll find us. My Instagram is Gritz with a Z, King _. That's where all my just regular content, if you just want to see what I do, that's where my content is. I'm on Facebook under Stephen King. There's a couple that pop up. There's a page I used to have that is not there. So the picture is me on the keys smiling. That's so you know it's me.
I believe we talked about that moment earlier.
Yeah. So if you want to see that moment, go check. You'll see that. Yeah, and then my music, you can find on all streaming platforms. Also Bandcamp. So listen to the music. If you got Apple Music, Spotify, all that good stuff, listen to it. If you like it and you feel like you want to, support the artist, then go to Bandcamp, Gritz King in Bandcamp. And yeah, just
hold on. But if you want to do that, be patient and do it on the first Friday of the month, so that Gritz King gets the lion's share of the money that is getting sent there, because Bandcamp is still doing their fee-free Fridays for the first Friday of the month. So the first Friday of June, make sure you go out there and you pick up the record on Bandcamp. If you can't wait, that's fine. Give the extra money then. But if you just, we're not going to turn away your money. I'm just trying to better,
right,
and a more informed clientele. That's all.
Of course.
And just know, like, I just want you to hear the music. I just want you to feel the music. It's called Conversations, so it's about conversations. My conversations I had with God, conversations I had with God about my wife, my marriage, the death of my brother, the music I'm doing, just all of these things are in it, but also has something where I want you to be able to drive through. The album cover is, I took a picture inside of the car. Nice. And I edited it, but like, because a lot of good conversations happen in the car, if you think about it, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to be something you can play in your car and you just vibe and groove out. And yeah, just follow me for more stuff that I'll be doing, that I'll have posted, that I'll be just putting out. And yeah, let's see what happens.
Love it, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate you.
Definitely,
Thank
man.
y'all.
We got his new song Vibes on M right here on WNHH LP 103.5 FM New Haven. Myself, Prestige, and EZ BlueZ on Behind the Brand. Thank you, Gritz.
No problem. Thank y'all.